Hey everybody, welcome to another Illustrator CS6 tutorial. Today we're going to learn some cool selection techniques because there's a bunch of different selection tools in Adobe Illustrator that are different from other programs. So if you check over here on the left, our selection tools are going to be this top section here, which are divided by this little divider right above the pen tool. We've got the selection tool. We've got the direct selection tool, which also has a group selection tool in it. We got the magic wand tool, and we've got the lasso tool. And now if you're proficient in Photoshop or you've used Photoshop before, you'll recognize some of these, and then some of these you might not recognize, like the direct selection tool. This isn't something you would use in Photoshop. So let's start off with the selection tool. And this is the basic tool that you're going to use for selecting objects and moving them around and everything like that. The hotkey for the tool is V, and you'll want to remember that and always use it because you're going to be using the regular selection tool a lot. So all you need to do to use this is just position your arrow over the object, on the edge, on the path, or if it has a fill, then just click on it on the fill, and you're going to get that, or you're going to be able to select the object. Now this object doesn't have a fill, but it's a spiral, which is it's just a path, so I click on the path. Now I wanted to show you that if you create an object, I'll create an object real quick that doesn't have a fill. So I created a circle, no fill in it. When I go to click inside, since it has no fill, I'm unable to select it. Now, you can also click and drag to create a marquee, which is this square box here with the dotted lines. And if you drag it across part of the object, you're going to be able to select the object. If you have an object here that's closed and it doesn't have any fill in it, you can also use your box or selection or your marquee selection here and drag, and it'll select the actual object there. So you just can't click to select, but you can marquee select it. I'm just going to delete this out of here. Same thing with this here. If I go to try to use my marquee selection, it's not going to do anything because this is just an open path. It's not closed. I'm going to have to actually click on the path or drag the marquee selection through some of the path for it to get selected. Now, if you want to select multiple items, then you're going to want to click on one and then hold the Shift button down. And this allows you to click on more than one, and this adds these to your selection box. Now I can move all of these if I wanted to. Now, if the object has a fill, you're able to click in the center of it and drag it around. If it doesn't, and you try to click and drag, it's not going to work and everything's going to get deselected. Now you can use your rectangle marquee as well. You can select over everything, or you can just select through everything, and it'll select all of the paths that were involved. So those are some tips. And another cool thing that I like with the selection tool is if you select something, then you hold Alt and click and drag, it's going to make a duplicate for you. So I thought that was really neat, and that's a pretty good time saver. The next thing that we've got is the direct selection tool. And with the direct selection tool here, the white arrow on the toolbar here, you're able to select the individual points and the segments of your paths. So the direct selection tool has the hotkey of A. So when I click on this object here, we're going to be able to see these points. I can click on the path, and I'm able to just drag it around. That's my segment. Or if I go ahead and zoom in, we can see that there's some points here. I can edit these points. There we go. And move them around to modify the actual object. There's also handles on here that I can drag to also modify the object. And I'll go over those later on. I'm going to zoom back out. Let's put this in an area because I want to be OCD. There we go. So that's about the direct selection tool. Now the same principles that were used with the selection tool can be used on the direct selection tool. So let me select this object here. And we can see we've got points here that are easy to find. And if I click and drag, I'm able to select more than one point. And when I go to move them, both of the points are going to move. I can also use Shift to select multiple points. And when I go to move them, it's going to be like that. You can see a little trick there, how to create an arrow. And that's pretty much it with the direct selection tool. It's mainly used for editing your points. I click on my path. I'm able to click and drag on the path. I think I went over that already. But that's it on that. Let's go to the lasso tool, which is the fourth one down, and the hotkey is Q. Now, the lasso tool, you want to use that when you want to select the shapes that are like closest shapes you don't want to select. So, for example, you are trying to use like I'll just show you how to use it. You go ahead and click and drag. Oops, I went through the actual path. There we go. I went and I only wanted to select these three here. So I use my lasso tool to only select that area. There we go. So hopefully you can see like the use for the lasso tool. You need to pretty much close your shape, but let me try this going on here. And I pretty much just went around the shape, or went through these shapes here, and I was still able to select these without actually closing my shape, as you can see. If I try to do it like this, all the shapes are going to get selected. So you don't have to go around in a complete circle. Oh, there's some more artifacting that I was talking about that happened in my last tutorial too. All right, so that's those. You can select single or multiple objects using the lasso tool. When you hold the Shift key, it adds line segments and fills them. So see there. Let's go into here and select these line segments. So there you go. That's how you use the lasso tool. The next tool we got is the magic wand tool. So go ahead and take that, and you can just select entire objects with the magic wand tool as well. It's a hotkey is Y, as you can see on the tooltip there. And it actually looks like a magic wand, so that's why it's named that. You don't have to drag things to select with the magic wand tool. So that's what's good about it. It creates a selection based on the shifts and brightnesses within the image. So if there's like a definable color shift, it's only going to select the color that you have picked, which is actually not easy to demonstrate with these, but see if I can figure out a way to make this work a little better. So what I'm going to do is create another color, or create another shape with the same color as this red square. So let me click create an ellipse here. And I'll just bring up the strokes so they kind of look the same. So now they're deselected. If I take the magic wand tool here and I go ahead and select this, you can see that the red here, or the red square, is also selected. So you're just selecting based on color. If I go to select the blue here, it's going to deselect these two colors because they're not the same color and only select the blue. So that's how the magic wand tool works. Pretty easy. Use it for selecting colors pretty much. Now, what if you want to select more than one color? Well, all you got to do is hold down Shift when you're selecting, and you can see a little plus sign there. And when you select or click, it's going to select more than one color. If you hold down Alt, it's going to deselect the colors that you didn't want, while leaving the other colors that you did have selected still selected. So that's how you add and take away different selected colors. So I guess that's all I really wanted to go over for these selection tools. So yeah, it's different techniques on how to select things depending on how your project is set up and what you need to do. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about these tools and can put them to use in your next project. Give me a thumbs up down below if you liked the video and you learned something. And thanks a lot for watching. See you guys later.